Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. This is Nerdarchist Ryan with
Nerdarchist Dave.
Nerdarchist Ted.
And today we have a GM 911. Before we tell you what the GM 911 is, if you have your own, you can email us at nerdarchy@gmail.com, GM 911 in the subject line, or you can head over to Nerdarchy the forums. There's a GM 911 section for you to put it there. So what was the name of the...
Terry Orinar.
Terry Orinar wrote us to say that they're a newish DM. They have some players that are also kind of new to D&D. And it's a party of 3 players. One person with an extensive backstory that sort of involves, like, being a half-elf rogue that, you know, had a mentor that got killed in the heist that went awry, having been part of a traveling circus before that, and, you know, I guess ended up with an abusive family, or adopted by an abusive family, like in between.
I think that was like before that.
Between the two things that happened. Yeah. So Caravan, abusive family, rescued by an elven rogue that helps her.
And the character doesn't trust humans.
So
or like humans.
She's a half-elf that's racist against human due to life experiences.
And the problem is that the other players are humans. So the DM's like, well, how do I get these characters together?
To play nice.
Right. Well, even the adventure together, they even start the campaign. And there was...
So it was a cleric, and what was the other? She's a rogue. It was a cleric, and do you remember what the last one was?
I don't know if it was a paladin or something. It doesn't even really matter.
So 2 of them are holy, and then you have, like, the rogue character.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really matters is the fact that they're human and she doesn't like humans.
Yeah.
So there's a time where I would have agonized over this just as you are now. But then, like, something happened, and I realized, you know what? You guys are all what you are. You tell me why you're together. You know, they're going to have to figure it out. What, you know, especially if someone wants to create a really complicated backstory that makes them kind of
anti against the rest of the party.
Yeah, so they're going to have to. So it's perfectly legitimate for the DM to go, well, you guys figure out why you were together.
Either that, or you could actually incorporate that background. All right, the heist went awry. She gets captured. The 2 people that are escorting her to, like, go the trial or whatever, you have that where it takes a bit of a distance for them to have to travel for justice or whatever. Well, some things, intermittent circumstances, happen along the road. And so maybe a chance for her to redeem herself in their eyes or whatever. So, like, whatever her penalty is to befall her, that's sometimes away. And things happen in between that they have to work out circumstances, and they adventure together, and they become companions in that regard. You know, like, adversity breeds, like, strange bedfellows.
Indeed.
So,
yeah, I mean, you could absolutely handle it that way, or, you know, maybe, you know, it also depends too on what the other players do. So, like, obviously, if they performed acts that were selfless towards the half elf, that would probably help endear them. But again, you know, players are going to do what players are going to do. You know, you don't have any guaranteed way of figuring that out.
Yeah, this is where I think, you know, a session, you know, a session 0, we're sitting down talking about the character builds, the character makeups. You'd be able to come up with how is this all going to flow together, because as cool as it is to make a really cool backstory, if you make something that's not going to work and, you know, flesh out with the other players, you're actually a problem player at that point in time.
well, I mean, so the funny part is, when I was reading this backstory, I was like, holy shit, this character's backstory is more adventurous than most adventurers, you know, in their first few levels. Like, so that's part of the problem. If like, you put this massive thing, like, your character's done all this stuff, that doesn't speak the first level, like, at all. You know, like, 1 through 3, you're still kind of apprentice and learning how to do the thing. So that's just kind of a thought. Oh, I did have another idea of how you bring them together. So maybe the half-elven rogue, like, her sentence is actually to do services for the crown, and she's with these other 2.
She got stuck with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Parole officers.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, especially Paladin.
Well, you know, speaking to session 0 that Ted was talking about, like, this is where a good place to flesh this stuff out, where you could also draw those parallels where that idea could, you know, be, you know, floated by one of the players or the GM or whatever. But, you know, Well, but you guys could talk over before the game
You
even
agree
starts.
about it. Yeah, you agree on what the circumstances are for the adventurer, and then you can go off and write as the GM, and figure that out.
You can let the players come up with their own story and make it work out themselves. You can have, the trial has already happened, and she's got to do service, and the other two players are essentially her bodyguards and enforcers at the same time to make sure she does it. Or they could be the escorts taking her to the trial, which has not happened yet, and perhaps events along the
She
the
does
road.
some heroic deeds that kind of set her to rights.
Right.
And
So
they can also vouch for her, which would set up a good relationship between the two factions of human and half elf.
I think those three are solid ideas that'll give you a good starting block. What do you guys think out there? Do you have any other suggestions that they can use to get this campaign rolling? Put your thoughts and feelings down in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, even subscribe.
I could say some stuff about some things. You can check us out over on Facebook.
Check us out. You can hang out with us at nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.